Okay. Do you solemnly affirm the testimony you shall give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right. Go ahead with your presentation.
Jim Orioles representing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the citation portion of the special magistrate hearing for July of 2016, today being July 28, 2016. We have one item on the agenda, and that is parking citation C7876 involving Valerie J. Koronadovich and a Nissan tag number DCJT69. Citation was issued June 27, 2016. Who's going to presenting evidence on behalf of the city? All right, would you stand, please? Who is going to be appearing on behalf of the alleged violator? All right, why don't you all step forward to the microphone so we can get your names on the record. All right, officer, what is your name?
Edward.
What? Edward. How do you spell that last name? And you're an officer with the city of Oviedo. All right, ma'am, what is your name?
I'm Valerie J. Koronadovich, sir. Long last name.
Koronadovich. And ma'am, what is your name? Nellie? Natalie? Last name? Koronadovich. All right, would you all three raise your right hand? Are you presenting testimony, sir? Okay, but you're not going to be presenting any evidence today? Okay, well, the three of you, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the whole truth? All right. We'll hear from you first, Officer Heim.
On 627, I was conducting patrol in...
I'm sorry?
On 627, I was conducting neighborhood patrols. I noticed a vehicle parked the wrong direction in a cul-de-sac. Ran the vehicle to see. Sometimes the vehicle comes back to that address. Came back to a different address in Oviedo. So I went to the door to make contact with the owner. To no avail. A neighbor was looking out the window, so I went to the neighbor's door, find out if they knew whose car it was, or make sure I go to the right house. I always try to make an attempt to make contact so they can correct the violation. I was unable to make contact with the owner, so at that time I issued the citation. My body camera footage captured the violation.
All right, may I see the
Footage? Yes, sir.
footage? Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And by the way, this was at 1044 Henson Court.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. If one of you ladies wants to, both of you want to look at this while we look at it, that's fine. And this is the vehicle, the red vehicle?
It's the bunch that's what. wish to go and my few and multiple times in experiencing program. Sandy has had to get home from 2 a.m. He works at AAA. My grandson, he parked at 2 a.m. there because of that. Yeah.
Was there a complaint, or did you simply happen to drive by?
We were just driving through the neighborhood.
Okay. Oh, I know.
Our neighbor next door to us is probably have police at their house, maybe 3 times a week. Yeah, so we have a lot of police presented down there with,
A lot of times when the traffic can be fast, they go out there and force one.
well, we have no traffic. We're at the end of the cul-de-sac. And we were the only cars at the end of the cul-de-sac parked there.
And I'm not exactly sure, personally, I know which way to park in the cul-de-sac, because
Well, that's not-
it goes this way or goes
Okay, let's do it one at a time. Okay, who wants to talk?
park in the wrong direction.
But that's not what it's for. Parking in the cul-de-sac is very hard because there's no straight place to park. It's all circle. Well, no, how come the bike can't?
Okay, let's limit ourselves to what we're here about right now. Whose driveway is this?
This house is right here.
This is your driveway? Okay.
There's just about a space for one car.
Now,
Why didn't he park in your driveway?
because I have a Suburban, sir. I have a big blue 1999 Chevy Suburban that normally drives there, that parks there. The bigger cars we try to park off the street. Normally he drives a little white Sebring convertible, and she has a Sport. Yeah,
Credit card.
away from everybody. But again, we're at the very bottom of the cul-de-sac. The only car that sits in the street normally is one of ours. So as you come down the cul-de-sac, you know, people come through there all the time, right, left, all the time. And we have gone out, and because of the kind of car it is, you've driven down the cul-de-sac, if you drive straight down and you're really paying attention to all the cars on the street, hard to see on the street because they line up, but we have,
Got photos of,
yes, sir, we brought.
Okay, well, just a moment, I'll look at those. that about the end of it? All right.
As I said, 316, 195 required regular
That's 316. That's okay. I already have it. All right. Anything else, Officer Heim?
No, sir.
All right. Why don't you take that back, and then we'll let Miss Karandovich. Which one of you wants to speak first? Okay. Why don't you go back to where the microphone is there? All right. And this is Dorothy Karandovich.
I'm Valerie.
Valerie.
I am Valerie Krandovich. I'm Natalie.
Oh, there's no Dorothy.
No.
Okay, I misheard something. Valerie. All right. Valerie Karandovich.
Yeah, that's me, sir. Number one, we did go out and took pictures too of where the car was parked. As you come down the street, the whole street is straight.
Turn the microphone toward you just a little.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, sir. The whole street is straight. And probably let me go back to the very beginning. The ticket here writes, and I was violated for right wheel on curb. Now, it doesn't say is not on curb. It just says this is what the ticket is for, a right wheel on curb. There is a left wheel on the curb, not a right wheel. And I feel if you get out enough and look at the car, you would notice that. The second thing I'd like to know this morning is when they come down and do that, do they look at all the cars on the street? Because every one of them down my street is just about violated. We have a motorcycle that parks on the sidewalk, drives up the sidewalk, and parks over a manhole cover. These things are very hard for me because I would think the reason why this car was targeted, and they both got out of their car to look at
Let me
it,
sit down.
is because it is a lowered little Datsun car. No other cars like that on the street. It's a little what we call it, if you're driving down the street because of the noise, a rice rocket. It's just a little, but I mean, it's a fancy little car, and like I said, there are no other cars on the street like it. So I feel like coming down the street, this was picked out, and then after they get out, they walk around and walk around and walk around and check it all over. You couldn't have seen that without getting out and looking at the car, physically getting out, because we've done both. You could not have seen that the tire was on the curb. And then the ticket, when you get the ticket, it says the right wheel is on the curb. That's what my citation is for. Not parking illegally, not parking in the wrong direction, not any of that. As he has stated, it was parked in the wrong direction. And like she said, I'm not sure what the right direction is. But it seems like if you're home, during the day, when the code enforcement comes along, there aren't that many cars, so yeah, let's pick out one. That's the nicest little car down there. No other cars around it to look at. But we have brought pictures as down our street, because the street is very narrow, like most of the streets here. 75% of the cars are parked like that, up on the curb. We also have two cars in our neighborhood that as you come in, there are two streets that go out that actually park catty corner on the curb, on the corner. Here's the corner, they park like this. Now, I don't believe in what I know of regulations that would be legal, because you could be hit either way. You got your front end and your back end sticking out. But on this one here, I just feel like he was tapped. I think if you get out and spend that much time looking at the car, at least you could write the ticket the correct way. That's really my
All
big
right.
thing. I'll be glad to show you the other cars.
Okay, well, I'll look at those in a moment. All right, then, Natalie Karandovich, would you step to the microphone? We'll hear from you, and then I'll be happy to look. Now, you're actually the owner of the car, right?
No, our friend Ricky Urasaki is. He has a car and a motorcycle, so when my son's car broke down, he loaned him his car.
So who is the owner of the car?
His name is Ricky Urasaki.
Who?
Ricky Urasaki. R-I-K-I. U-R-A-S-A-K-I is his last name.
And he's the owner of the car.
He's the owner of the car.
And he had lent it to your...
My son. In fact, my son drives it more than he does.
So your son parked it, but it wasn't owned by either of you ladies.
No.
It was parked at 2 a.m. in the morning when my son gets off work, or my grandson
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Karandovich.
Yeah. We have had, when we saw the car and we park it, like I said, it's very narrow on our street, and there's no straight part, there is no straight area in our cul-de-sac to park. So sometimes, like in my car, I have a big car, I back up there, you can't even tell you're up on the curb. It's very hard to distinguish because it's literally this big, maybe this big the curve is. So you can't tell. And parking in the cul-de-sac, it goes like this and then it swings out wide. So I'm not exactly sure which would be the correct direction because I pull in this way usually. I don't pull this way. So those just were our two things. We have photos of other cars. We've been out actually telling the neighbors when we see it that they will ticket you. I will go to the door now because our street is so narrow that even with the cars there, you have to stop. Well, it's Alfea Woods. So if you've been in the neighborhood, inside some of the streets, it's very small.
Did you ever show the ticket to Mr.?
Yes. Urasaki? Yes.
Yes. He's not here today?
He's in school at Valencia College.
He's where?
At school at Valencia College.
Okay.
He's a full-time student.
Okay. All right. You had some videos you wanted to show me, or photos?
Yes, sir.
All right. But come step forward. If Mr. Officer Heim, if you want to look at them, you're welcome.
This is the car that parks on the corner. This is actually, it's on Shoreside. This is where you pull into the street. Where you pull in, and that street goes off to the right. He parks there every weekend. He's always there.
Okay. I must tell you, what other people do is really not an issue here today. Okay.
I just want to show that there are other.
They probably would have been ticketed also had they. Okay.
Usually it's the weekends, it's nights. There we go. Here's other people on our street also parking up on the curb. And we're just preventing.
That doesn't make it right.
Right. But
Okay.
we're just showing because it is hard to tell, and I've never heard of this violation, and we've lived there 2 years, and we have parked on the grass, we have parked up on between the sidewalk and the curb, where we've had people over for parties and stuff. We've never had a problem. So we were just showing that our street is so small, it's very common, that's all. It's a very common thing. They just taking stuff out on the road all the time. Yeah, so this is, we have. But our street,
Okay.
interestingly enough, if you park anywhere close to here, she will not go very well. So you have to park at least 10 feet away. I did want to show. Pretty much those are all the same.
Okay. All right. We'll step back to the microphone. Your son was driving.
Yes, sir.
Why is he not here today?
He's working today, sir, and I'm thankful for that.
Okay. Anything else that you ladies want to present?
No, that's it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Officer Heim, a question or two for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did you do a check to see who owned the car?
We did. It came back to Urasaki.
Urasaki.
Yes, sir.
And the ticket, the citation, that again. Okay, thank you. Well, here's the problem today. The owner of the vehicle really should have been here today, or at the very least, the son. I know that the citation says right wheel on the curb. I don't find that to be a fatal defect because the video showed clearly that there was a tire parked on the curb. The problem is that the request for hearing today did not come from the owner of the vehicle. The owner of the vehicle should have been here today, and it should appropriately have been the owner of the vehicle to request the hearing. So I don't think there's any question but that the vehicle was parked on the curb, the wheel was parked on the curb, so I'm going to impose a fine of $30. Now, of course, this is Mr. Urasaki's responsibility, and I'm assuming he and your son can work out who pays that. But there's no question it's parked on the curb, and the fact that other people do it is really not an excuse. There are several neighborhoods that if the police went into, I'm thinking particularly of Waverly Woods, they could have an officer full-time in Waverly Woods. So I am going to impose a fine of $30. That fine will have to be paid next door at the utility department on the first floor. Now, they do not have an order from me yet, so what I'm going to do to make this easier for everyone, I'm going to put a code on here, which stands for administrative citation, and $30. If you walk this next door, if you intend to pay it today, then you can pay it over there. If not, if you're going to pay it later, then are you intend to pay it today or later?
I'd like to pay it on Monday, sir.
All right, then. Then I will do an order, and they will have the order by Monday. It would explain where to pay it, and they will have the order at that time. But cul-de-sacs are a particular problem. People don't understand. I live on a cul-de-sac myself in a community. The emergency vehicles, if they ever had to come in there and you've got a bunch of people parked on the cul-de-sac, someone's house is going to burn down. All right. I think that's the last on that administrative citation. Anything else to come before the administrative citation portion today?
Will this affect Mr. Urasaki's driver at all?
Yeah. No, it's just a parking violation. Okay. All right. Not hearing anything else to come before us, we're going to adjourn the administrative citation portion, and that will conclude the hearing for the day. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.